Alright, here we go. No, chat is not working. Alright, here we go. Sometimes the TAS Studio tool that I use, which is what's displaying the input, has a few problems, so I do have a video to switch to in case it crashes or desyncs or whatever. But it normally just likes to slow down at some parts, which is fine. If anyone in chat has questions, feel free to ask, because it is kind of a long playthrough, so I'll need a few things to talk about. I will have commentary, but this beginning section is pretty boring and pretty dull. So, yeah. Yeah, so the best way to tech smash in this game and seasons is to just hit A and B every other frame. So for this whole cutscene, I just have it running A and B because I was too lazy to actually figure out the exact frames. Why am I not playing it on Japanese version? Because English is easier to read. Japanese is technically faster, but I just did the task in English. The red lines, I don't know how it figures it out, but the red lines are they're lag frames, which means the task, like the game doesn't accept changes to input on those frames. So if I hit B and a red line comes up, and the line after the red line I hit B again, it'll think I held B for 3 frames. There is no cutscene skip yet, Stanner. One day, maybe, but I doubt it. Yeah, screen transitions, mostly a lot in D4, and a few in Dungeon 6, like the underwater sections. There are some parts that it looks a little unoptimal just because of the lag, and I couldn't fix it. But you can actually minimize the lag by pausing in different locations, so it's odd. So you'll notice the music is still playing here when it's supposed to be silent. That's because I hit start while walking to Impa, and it interrupted the music stopping, which is kind of funny. Dren taught me that. So for those who aren't familiar with the movement in this game, you can clip into walls 1 pixel, unless the wall is below you, in which case you can clip into it 2 pixels. So most of the movement will be clipping through the walls, just slightly, because it's slightly faster. So the main trouble with tasking the Oracle games is the RNG, because only certain things progress the RNG, Whereas in a lot of other games, there's just a constant string going by, and it's very hard to actually predict what it is. But in Oracle of Ages and Seasons, and I believe Minish Cap as well, you can manipulate the RNG with sword swings. The enemy movement does it. Certain cutscenes, like the cutscene at the start of the game where it says press start and the sun is appearing. So if I ever wait on that screen for a bit, it's because I'm waiting for the RNG to move to a point where the enemy movement will be... it will allow me to move very fast. So right here I get a Gasha Seed for a skip later that uses the Expert's Ring. And it's funny because I found that when I got to Tokyo Island, I actually didn't have Mystery Seeds. So I thought I needed a different way to get the items in Tokyo Island without Mystery Seeds. So I found... rip run. I found a new glitch on Tokyo Island halfway through casting it. And it was kind of funny because I did that and I'm like, I'm not going back to fix it because the Expert Ring is actually still pretty fast because you can beat bosses very quickly with it. One of the 8/, I'm not sure what you mean, Zulus. One of the things that you may not notice is whenever you walk by an NPC, if you walk into them diagonally on certain frames, they'll actually move you 1 pixel over. So if I ever walk by an NPC and you see me kind of dash to the side just a bit, that's why. So when digging up anything, if you have the sword equipped as well, it's faster to slash the sword the frame after you get the... or after you hit the shovel. And I get the Gasha Seed there as well, because the first Gasha Seed you grow can't give you anything good. It's normally just some crappy rings. But the second one you grow can, so we grow 2 in order to get the Expert Ring from the second one. So here we do a pit walk, which is it's technically not TAS only, but it's basically TAS only because you have to do a series of frame perfect inputs to counteract the pits pulling you in. Why no sword slash on dirt rocks? Because if you swing the sword, it will move the RNG over, and if I had swung the sword on those dirt rocks, the enemies would have been in a worse position, and it would have been slower. So if I ever swing the sword an extra time, like there, or don't swing it when it could have been faster to swing it, that's why. Up to a bit after Dungeon 1, I use an RNG seed that Dren found a while back when he tried to TAS it. So shoutouts to Dren for that. Dren helped me with a lot of the information for TASing this game, so huge shoutout to Dren for that. Thank you, Dren. Yeah, there's quite a bit of time where I'm not actually doing anything, and I like to spin normally when doing that. So right here you can get the Ember Seed Satchel, it's just the seed satchel, to fall on either the left or the right side of the Maker Tree, but if you get it to fall on the right side, it messes up a trick at the very end of the game that actually saves more time than getting it to fall on the right side. So we just make it fall on the left. Here I collect 6 rupees, because I'm going to need 10 to play a mini game after Dungeon 1. Another odd thing that advances RNG is when these kids shake. I'm not entirely sure why, but the game advances the RNG every time they shake. So for the movement speed in this game, walking on land normally is 40 movement speed, walking through grass is 30 movement speed, and walking upstairs is 20 movement speed. And Pegasus Seeds will increase it by 50%. So when walking upstairs, it's normally best to just walk straight instead of walking diagonally, because each time you move straight in a direction, you'll advance 1 pixel in that direction. And if you move in a diagonal, you'll advance your subpixel by, I believe, 181. And if it scrolls over the 255 and 0 mark, then you'll advance 1 pixel in that direction. Why fall down the right hole? It's actually slightly faster to fall down the hole. This room is fun because we have pit walking. But unfortunately you can't, unless you're walking to a platform where both of the tiles that you're walking in between has an empty space for you, then you can't actually get to that platform. So we do have to use the platform there. Here comes the first mini-boss. Hey Schmid, how are you doing? So I'm going to start killing a few enemies here, because I actually need 40 kills for the Gosh Seeds to grow. And I planned it out so I would get, I think it was exactly 40 by the time I was done. And if you get hit by an enemy, you get pushed in a different direction, or the opposite direction from the enemy, which is useful for movement if you're swinging the sword. Although I tried to minimize getting hurt in the run, because the beeping heart sound is kind of annoying. So I tried to keep that to a minimum. There is a point in Dungeon 4 where it gets a bit bad, but I think that's the only point in the run that does that. Here comes the first boss. Nothing too special on him. And that was Dungeon 1. TV, please. I avoided that green rupee because I would have had to slow down slightly in order to get it. I also have Ember Seeds and the Power Bracelet equipped because it's faster to just pick up the bushes and rocks that you need. Because each equip loses 1.5 seconds, roughly. So we try to minimize that throughout the run. Get a green rupee for that rock for 10 for the mini game that we're going to play in just a little bit. These fairies were tricky because, as everyone knows, their position is completely randomized. so I had to manipulate them to get them in the best position. The boomerang is a joke. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Stanner. So the reason we entered the shop earlier was to set a point that we could save and quit to. Because save and quit warps to the last area you entered or exited. So certain cutscenes actually have a few frames in them. Certain scripted events have a few frames where you can use items, and that was one of them. You can play the harp if you mash too quickly, so I had to pause very slightly there. So coming up is the first glitch in the run. It's called Toilet Warp, and you'll see why in just a minute. No, the best thing to do exiting the house is to move. Shoutouts to Dren for the Goron Dancing RNG here. So Goron Dancing is probably the worst minigame to manipulate, because there are quite a few patterns that you can get, and you need to get the 8 shortest, with the 8th shortest being in the last dance he does. And you need to fail the 7th and 8th shortest ones. And the dances sound a slight bit weird because of the way they were coded. We have to talk to this guy to get him to move. And then we're going to skip getting bombs in the palace, because thankfully this chest up here has bombs, which are super useful. Now we're going to go jump down to level 5's area and get Pegasus seeds, because they make you go fast. I'm wearing the rock like a hat. Pit walking is quite overpowered. That is the true D2 skip. So Pegasus seeds are interesting in that you can refresh the effect 1 frame before the effect actually runs out, but it causes the sound effect to stop for a second, so it sounds like you don't have them on, which is interesting. So this is where Duran's RNG stopped, and I had to find my own. This may be my favorite room in the TAS right here. Those blocks are fun because you can slide while pushing them. Again, I'm killing the snakes because I need 40 kills. So Dungeon 2's layout is great for TAS because you can literally just pit walk to the mini-boss. And you don't have to do any of the other stuff. Because all we need from Dungeon 2 is the feather. There's not too much you can do to speed this mini-boss up. So I just have Link spinning in the corner. Yeah, Link does that a lot, Schmid. Here we do a save and quit because all we need is a feather. That guy will forever remain there because the game still thinks I don't have bombs yet. This is hilarious. I needed to dig up 100 ruby, and that Octorok was in my way, and he just happened to be right where I was digging up the rupee, so I pushed him out of the way. Here we're going to do another toilet warp, because getting to the graveyard is actually faster, because you can save and quit when stuck in an exit, and if you hold a certain direction, you'll be put on a weird part of the screen, and you can just walk into the graveyard. And so that is the expert ring, which will be used for a skip and killing bosses very fast. Right here I'm going to use a bomb boost and Pegasus seeds to get to the grave without moosh. Hello Hyper. Is that RTA friendly? There was a reason it's not, I think. I can't think of it right now though. It might be now. There are a few things that can mess up the positioning, but I don't think we get to any of them. Like if you ride in a minecart, it'll mess up the position you start from. Moose is going to be forever soft locked in this graveyard, unless we were to not get a flute later on. Because Moose is waiting for you to save him from the ghosts, but there are no ghosts there, and he's not even supposed to be on that screen, so I'm not really sure how it works. Vasu loves to talk. If you look at the mashing on the right, it was a bit odd early on, because if you mash frame perfectly with Vasu, there are so many frames that you can do things in, that you will actually talk to him again. And when you exit his last text box, he'll just start talking again. Which is very annoying. I just smacked my mic. Right here I visit the Ember Seed tree because we'll use it near the end of the game to use a Gale Seed to get to faster. This section is fun because I tasked it 3 separate times. Because at first I just tasked it, and then the second time I was like, I can equip the feather and jump down these stairs instead of equipping, I think I equipped the sword first. And then when I went back through, I realized I can get 100 rupee pretty easily. So I did it again with the shovel equipped to get that 100 rupee. And we need those rupees to play mini games later, and also to get Dimitri's flute, because Dimitri is the fastest animal to use in a speedrun. So right here I'm getting low on Pegasus seeds, which caused me to lose a little bit of time, but there wasn't really anywhere to get another seed drop that was efficient. And once the Toke take all of your items, they refill it for you, which is very nice. They even add mystery seeds, which I didn't know. If I knew that, we wouldn't have a glitch that I found. Dimitri has always been my favorite. I'm not entirely sure why. I think just because I accidentally got his flute the first time I played through it. So the movement with Hadron, you're not super late, you actually didn't miss that much, considering you did a TAS of a lot of the game before this. So the movement with Ricky is very odd. A lot of the times it's faster to punch with him while he's jumping, but he actually, if I had jumped there, he would have gone too far, and it was actually the same amount of time, even if I had paused to jump. I wish I could hear that disclude, but I kind of need to do commentary. So the raft movement is basically the exact same as land movement. Mash, this is probably actually the best time to go, although it won't be by the time you hear me saying that. I think TAS Studio slowed down a bit there. I'm not sure why. It likes to slow down. I think it's a memory issue, but I'm not entirely sure. If I play a BK2 file, it doesn't do that. Which is weird, but I wanted the inputs. I thought they were cool. So here's a skip that I accidentally outdated halfway through the task. To skip getting the shovel, which actually still kind of saves a bit of time in the task. I think I only lost 10 or 15 seconds by not redoing the entire task, because I thought I didn't have mystery seeds, so I had to find a new way to get the items back, which is what I'm going to be doing here in a minute. But first we need to get the power bracelet, and we need to go get bombs. They did take my stuff, they're kind of jerks. I think Mabdor was going to do a run like that, where he stopped and did an LADX any % run in the middle of that cutscene, which would have been hilarious. So like I was saying earlier, some scripted events let you do an action for 1 frame in the middle of the event. And the way this game gives you items, I'm not sure if chests work like this, but most other items you'll get by the game dropping them on you, and then you'll pick it up the next frame. Luckily the trader does a combination of both that and the pause, so if you pull out a bomb, it just kind of leaves the item there, because you just happen to have a bomb in your hands, and you can't pick up an item while you have a bomb. So there we get all three of the items we need from the trader in one fell swoop, which is always a fun thing. But we still need our seed satchel back because it has our go fast seeds in it, and we still need our heart back. Right there I decided not to jump because it would have caused low hearts later, and it wasn't too much faster. So this is one of the weirdest looking screens in the run coming up. The bubbles that Link produces actually increments the RNG. So even though it looks like I'm going through the room slightly unoptimally, it's just because I needed the RNG to go slightly more, and it was slightly faster to do that than wait on a title screen. Because if I had waited on a title screen, it would have changed RNG earlier. This guy gives us a friendly nudge in the right direction. There I threw the rock because those guys, I tried I think 4 or 5 different RNG seeds before I got fed up with them. Plop. Moving platforms are fun. I had a bit more fun later with them because I discovered I can do more stuff, but they're pretty much a side-scrolling section. So here we get the heart back, which is the last item we need. Other than in the normal gameplay, you would get scent seeds through that training sequence, and we do actually need scent seeds to complete the run. But there are 3 bushes in Dungeon 3 that give you scent seeds even if you don't have them yet, which is very useful. Although it did eliminate one of my favorite minigames from the run, so I'm a little sad about that. So here is Dungeon 3, which... Dungeon 3 had some weird RNG stuff. I don't remember the gif that I sent. Was it of killing the... So the red frames, for people who weren't here earlier, are frames where the game does not accept changes in input. So if I hit B 1 frame before a red frame and 1 frame after the red frame, even if I only hit it for 2 frames, it'll think I hit it for 3. Which is... They mostly appear... One appears every text box. Did I not get the seed upgrade? What do you mean, Jen? I only had 2 types of seeds when talking to Tingle, if that's what you mean. Yeah, one of the annoying parts is we don't get the seed satchel upgrade, which means I had to manipulate extra seed drops. One of the most annoying parts about Dungeon 3 was how many bombs I was using throughout the entire dungeon. So I kept having to get some out of the bushes and things. But it was much faster to use bombs to kill certain enemies. I have no idea what half my chat is talking about. So the Armos room was fun, because I originally tried to get 3 Armos with 1 bomb, but I found if I waited just slightly, I can get a Pegasus seed drop, which saves time later. This room is fun because there's not really a way to speed it up, so you just kind of have to wait. So I dodge rocks for a bit, and then I just start wandering around. I like to imagine Link would be humming a tune of some sort while doing this. I still have no idea what half my chat is talking about. Right here I throw a bomb to break that rock as soon as I can, because once all the rocks are broken, then the room opens up and I can continue on. I get a Pegasus seed drop off this guy really here. And I use a bomb to hit both of these guys. And even when I'm swinging the sword, I can manipulate the mimics to move over closer to me, which was very useful. Oh, Clash of Clans, gosh darn it. So right now we have to go around hitting the crystals to make the spinner fall down to the lower level. So coming up in just a minute is Subterror, the mini-boss of this dungeon, which is one of the points that the expert ring actually saved a bit of time on, because I could use that to actually one-cycle him, which was very hard to do. I almost couldn't get it, but then I realized I had a little bit of time when he was coming out of the ground, so I threw a bomb to hit him and get him in one cycle. And right here, the RTA route goes left to get a key, but I actually went back through the dungeon because you can use the portal warp to get back to the spinner and save getting the small key, which with good RNG, it was about 200 frames faster, or what, 2.5 seconds. Or no, 3 seconds, sorry. I can't do math right now. But it does require getting a pretty hard jump that I almost always miss RTA, so it still suggests getting the key. Right there I stepped on the switch twice in 3 frames, which is why the spinners went around so fast. And it looked cool. Right here is some fun jumps because pit walking. And coming up is Shadow Hag, which is one of the most annoying fights to TAS actually, because the butterflies can drop Pegasus speeds, which you can use to go fast. For anyone who's not played the game. They're what's making me go much faster. So I manipulated a few drops off of them. And that was Dungeon 3. I didn't forget the timer I asked, and Discord said he'd run one by himself. If you really want to know the time, you can look at the frame count and divide it by 60 twice, and that should give you the number of seconds, because it's slightly below 60 frames a second, and then you can divide seconds per minute. So it'll give you the number of minutes, sorry, not seconds. You can divide it by 60 once for the number of seconds, but that might be annoying to count. This could please. Well, that's what the frame counts for. So. So right here we need to buy Dimitri's flute because he's the fastest animal. So we have to talk to this guy because that triggers Dimitri actually appearing in the forest. And then we have to go to the forest to get Dimitri, then we have to get Dimitri to get some lazy guys back. It's an all-around pretty boring section because now we have to go do a series of time transitions to get the 2D nut fixed, which is always fun. The MacGuffin nut. My profile picture is an owl. It's a picture of an owl in a tree that I took a long time ago. So right there I throw Dimitri because I need to refresh the Pegasus seeds. Right here, to get back on Dimitri was kind of odd. I couldn't run straight down to get back on him, so I kind of had to do a triangle movement, which is very odd. But I guess it was the fastest way, so did that. So these guys are the fastest bridge builders in the world. And if they would have built that bridge and the one below it a while ago, we could have skipped a lot of D3. I could have moved. I did that as well, Dren. It was the same time. I'm not entirely sure what caused it. These bridges to the houses are weird, because there's an invisible, well, it's not really invisible, but there's a wall on either side of the bridge to keep you from falling into lava. And if you walk right of the bridge, you get pushed to the right, and if you walk left of it, you get pushed to the left. But if you walk dead center, you just walk on the wall for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. So here is the best song in the game. No, I do not hard reset in the TAS. I just soft reset. And if I need a different RNG, I just wait on the sunscreen. So that's the tune of currents. It lets us move from the past to the present. Which is actually not as useful as it sounds. That was a fun equip, because I wanted to get the flute out of the way. Because when you're equipping items in your inventory, certain items cause an extra frame of lag, which when you're doing very precise inputs for the inventory is very annoying. Dren, please. I needed Pegasus Seeds for Dungeon 4. Did I have the feather out? If it was the stairs before the screen transition and I didn't jump them with the feather, it's because I actually hit the screen barrier and it's slower than just walking up them. I know jumping upstairs saves frames. Start over. I might do it again because of the extra touring thing, but it won't be for a while. So these guys like to push you around, but if you just get in this corner, you can just have them push you into the corner and jump out of the way and push them all into the hole at once. So here we're entering Dungeon 4, which in my opinion was actually the weakest dungeon in the TAS that I did. Because I had such a hard time finding a good RNG seed for it. I think I tried for 9 hours to get a good RNG seed. And I just could not find one that was better than the one I got. Again, these blocks are fun because you can slide while pushing them, although you don't get to do that too much on this one. right here, I swing the sword a bunch to change the RNG. To get a Pegasus seed out of this pot, and the rooms coming up I need it to be relatively optimal. Oh, it's weird. If there's any lag, it's more than likely caused by TAS Studio. I think the only point where the game lags is actually in Dungeon 6 underwater, slightly. This room was fun. That was pretty much the room I spent 9 hours on, trying to figure it out. I just couldn't get it. So, like I said to a few of the runners earlier, you'd be surprised at how many sound effects in Dungeon 4 covers up the beeping heart sound effect, which is kind of funny. I'm pretty sure I didn't die here. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think it's just because it's in the loot table. Here I felt like playing with these guys, so I stunned 2 of them. And I stunned another one again. Right here I chose to get the ferry, actually, because it saves a little bit of time from getting it from the mini-boss, and because I wanted the beeping to stop. These platforms are fun. Minecart rides are always fun because there's not much to do in them. This mini boss is fun because it's not actually too much you can do to speed up the mini boss. So again, I avoided that fairy by getting the one earlier. And now I get to play the tile room, which is fun with TAS and Pegasus speeds. Although I ran out halfway through, which kind of sucked, but it would have been slower to equip it again. So all we need in Dungeon 4 is a switch hook, so we're going to leave and go do Dungeon 5. Right there, Gale Seeds have the weird thing where they can't really pick you up sometimes. And so I just walked around until it could pick me up, because it looked better than just sitting there. So I found it surprising that you actually do have to do Pegasus seeds in that room. I think I was a few pixels away from not having to use them when I tested it. It's funny. This fight was pretty fun because you can't really do anything to speed it up. so that was fun. Yeah, that fight is just hot potato. Although you can pretty much tell when the bomb is about to explode by it starts flashing. And the TAS obviously knows when it's going to explode because save states. So right here I waited just a bit to pull up that bush to get a heart, because it would be useful later. When I tried to corner boost off that guy, he actually pushed me too far, so I just avoided him. I'm not sure why certain times the Gale Seeds will go instantly and certain times they won't. This guy's really annoying because we have to wait for him to jump if we don't have the sword equipped. And earlier, the King Moblin fight actually is slightly based off RNG, so I let him jump earlier to move the RNG. This cave is always fun because, again, we have pit walking. I had to test this cave, I think, 6 times, because I go back through it. Or I don't remember if I go back through it. I had to time a bunch of things. The sword slash back there was so the keys would get out of my way. He didn't otherwise. Right here I jumped to move the RNG, so I can get a good pattern for these guys. So all we need out of Dungeon 5 is Cane of Samora. Right there, I had to use a Pegasus Seed to beat the, I think that's an anti-fairy. The anti-fairy to the stairs. It was very annoying. And I actually had to test it a few times to get it quite right. Oh, it's because Link's hitbox disappears. That's cool. I didn't know that. This room was fun. So odd thing about pushable blocks, if you are a few frames away, I'm not sure how wide the window is, but if you're a few frames away from pushing a block and you turn and start pushing a different block, the timer will continue over. Right there is the longest I wait on the start screen to get RNG. It's probably one of the only noticeable ones if you don't run the game. But I go around to save and equip. And then I'm going to do another text warp with the owl here. Down to the base of Rolling Ridge. The reason I waited so long on the start screen is because that Octorok would not get out of my way. So now we get to play a few mini games, which are always fun because who doesn't love mini games that are basically on rail sections? Those bushes below me, right there, contain Pegasus seeds, which I will get slightly later. Harriet, don't fall asleep. They might surprise you. Here's Target Carts, my favorite minigame in the game. People have strong opinions on the minigames in this game. Bonk. Right there I put a scent seed on the Goron because it looked funny. Which is always the best reason to do something. Oh, this minigame is fun because the fastest way to do it is to hit one fairy and then hit every other ball straight down because it speeds up the ball going down. I discovered if I move right and left very fast, Link kind of just stands there looking odd, which is fun. If I were to hit any of the other targets, it would add extra text boxes and would slow down the run. Mirror Link. Link cosplaying as Head Thwomp. That's probably the best description. So it wasn't that fun. Now we get to go to the bomb throwing minigame, which is always fun. And I told Dren he should use Burn Orb to make a Coco minigame from Link Between Worlds. And replace the bomb throwing minigame with that. First we have to create a stable time loop by getting a vase from this guy, and then trading it to his ancestor in the past, who will then pass it down to him. So it's faster to pit walk here than equip the feather, which is kind of annoying because pit walks really like to desync, and I have to pit walk back through that room. And I was trying to manipulate RNG to get Goron dancing good during the bomb throwing minigame. And so the bomb throwing minigame is fun because this guy literally just throws bombs at you, and if you get hit, you lose. And it may look like I'm not doing anything, but it's quite hard to stand completely still on moving platforms when you're constantly being pushed. So right here I swing the sword a bit to get a good pattern for Goron dancing. Right here I get Pegasus speeds because they make you go fast. Again. Goron dancing I'll be a bit quieter this time because the past guy likes to do more movements. And it sounds a bit funnier. Yeah, the guy, I don't know if it's automatic bomb throws or he manually throws them. If he manually throws them, it's very impressive that he can throw that many. He must have a lot of bomber's rings on. But he's really bad if he's trying to rig it. Goron Dancing was fun to manipulate because I have, I think, 2 full pages of notes that literally just say A and B all over them with the patterns I was getting for different RNGs. And it's odd because they don't actually go in sequence. If you change RNG once, the entire pattern changes. So here comes Dungeon 6, the hardest dungeon for RTA. I think in the game, honestly. Dungeon 8 and Dungeon 7 aren't that bad. You'll notice I'm getting kind of low on Ember Seeds. I put a cane block down here because I wanted to. Because the Cane of Samora doesn't get enough love. But I'll need Ember Seeds a bit later. And it was funny, we could skip a large section of this dungeon with one pit walk, but we actually have to still go through it because the boss key is in the present in that section. So I get more bombs here because they'll come in handy later. And I get caught by a hand because it's faster than saving quitting. And I have to go open up a wall back here to get the boss key later. You'll notice that I have Mystery Seeds equipped. It's because I was out of Ember Seeds to use on the torches. So I just manipulated... Did I make a pun? I didn't even mean to. I just manipulated the Mystery Seeds to be Ember Seeds when they hit those guys. Hitting that torch on the right is actually faster if you go left slightly, but it's like a 2 or 3 pixel window, which is interesting. So, that was fun. Link literally banged my car right there. So, for anyone who doesn't know the game casually, the main mechanic of Dungeon 6 is going between present and past to solve different puzzles. And what you do in the past can affect what happens in the present, which is a really cool mechanic. Although it gets very annoying very fast. So there's a funny story about this part right here. I was really tired when I was tasking this part, and I sat for about, I don't know, 2 hours trying to get the whiz ropes to spawn on the other side so I could use the switch hook to switch with them, before realizing that I could just pit walk across. I felt really dumb after that. Another fun part was coming up, we're going to do the Vire fight, and I tasked Vire through, I think, getting the boss key, and I saved it to go eat dinner, and I came back and the file was corrupted, so I had to go all the way back to Vire, which is one of the most annoying tasks, one of the most annoying fights to task, which is funny. So right there I let Vire come down slightly, because if I had killed him any higher, one of the bats would have flown away. The mermaid suit is one of the most fun things to do when tasking, because the fastest way to actually move is in groups of 5. I'm not sure why. I think groups of 6 works as well. But I can change direction slightly easier if I'm doing groups of 5 movement, and I stay at the same speed. Yeah, unfortunately there was no way to manipulate it to get first try boss key, because the coders were like, Now this puzzle's too easy. And so you have to pull the first lever, and then after that, every lever pull gives you a 3/8 chance to get the boss key, if I recall correctly. So that's all we need in the present, and we'll go back to the past to beat the dungeon. Is it 1/4? I thought you told me it was 3/8 at one point, and I've just been saying that ever since. Wow, 1/4 is really bad. I actually did not know that mash. I hit right, and it entered differently. It also, if I were to enter left or right, it would actually move me from where I entered and be slightly slower. I might be thinking of that. I'm not sure. This is the only part in the game that actually lag occurs because of the number of sprites on the screen. The arrows combined with the hook shots. But it was still faster to get the snakes. Or the ropes, I guess. I'm not sure why they're called ropes. Does anyone know why they're called ropes? But it was faster to get them in that pattern than a different one that was within reasonable RNG. That room was fun to TAS because I actually tried a few different ways to see if the way we do it RTA is actually fastest. And it turns out it was. Which is interesting, unless I missed something. So right here we can skip a small key by pit walking up to the boss door. And this is the octagon fight. He has a lot of health. Hello Mageling, you missed most of the TAS. This is the other part where the expert string actually doesn't lose that much time. And I probably should have been TASing with sound on, because I would have realized that I had low health here. I thought the notification was at half a heart, not below 1 heart. Yeah, it's alright. I also tried making Octagon stay above water and stay below water. He doesn't like to stay below water, but staying above water is actually slower. So the reason we visited the Ember Tree way back when is because of this not text warp, but the Gale Seed warp here. And when we go to the Palace, you'll actually find that the NPC ready to take you to meet Queen Ambia is there, because he sees that we have mystery seeds and is ready to take us there, but the NPC that has a script to take us up is not there because of Ralph. Right there is guard skip. And I go up here instead of going to the screen, if people are wondering, the people that know what I'm doing. Because of a few odd things that happened. One desync, some RNG, and a few lag frames or something. It was actually faster for me to go back later into it. I'm not entirely sure how I could have fixed that. I may have been able to pause slightly differently. So the Ambi fight's interesting because Ambi's appearance is a combination of where you are in the room and RNG. She picks a pillar to go to with RNG, and she picks a pillar to appear at with RNG, and based on your position. So if you're too close to Ambi, she'll actually move pillars again. So it's hard to find a location that I could stand, that I could still get to Ambi fast enough and not have her go away when I was trying to get Vern. I did punch Vern because it lost, I think, like 3 or 4 frames, and it looks cool. So, much better. So here we get the last item we need in the game, which is the Tune of Ages. That lets us travel from the present to the past, or the past to the present, anywhere we choose. Which is very useful for a glitch coming up. And to anyone who does not run this game, you're gonna get really confused in a second. Cutscenes are always so much fun, especially when they're right before the end of the game. RIP Glacial! What were you doing? So we save and hit quit here instead of equipping the harp. And I also need to go swimming for a minute, because I need to visit a specific tile, which the tile that I need to visit is the one right of this screen, and it's not actually on the map anywhere, but we need it to be discovered because we're about to get out of bounds and select the tile, and some crazy things happen when you select the tile, and it's always fun to see that. So right here we're going into the present entrance of Mermaid's Cave to do a text warp, which will put us back in the past and out of bounds in X World. So we have to get to the present, and then we go up a few screens and go to the past. And then we do a small setup that for some reason, for spriteless, no, Dren, it was slower, I'm sorry. Selecting the tile glitches, TAS only. But we do a small setup that corrupts our ring box and runs the script for Vern to appear, the final stage of Vern. And Vern will then take us to the final fight of the game, which we can then use the corrupted ring box to equip the red ring, which makes us do double damage. And then we can fight Vern with that. And for those wondering, Vern warp or Vern skip is 2 or 3 seconds faster or slower than just fighting Vern with a perfect fight with TAS timing. So that is Oracle of Ages. Done very fast. RTA, the TAS is slightly under 1 hour and 20 minutes. And with TAS timing, it's 1 hour, 20 minutes, and something seconds. I'm not quite sure. I forgot. It was in Discord, but it's probably buried. I'll have to retime it. Oh, I can just look at the frame count, but the Game Boy frame rate is really weird. It's like 9 or 10 numbers long. It's 59.97 something. So that's always fun to calculate. I just said the time, Schmid. Pay attention. The world record is 134 something by Dren. And he needs to hurry up and beat it because it's been a while. It's 59.7 something. I don't know. I can look it up, but you might fall asleep if I read it out loud. So that was the last input, which is where task timing ends. And I will just let the credits roll. If anyone has any questions, now's your last chance to ask. Glacial, I will purge you. Thanks, Zolas. No, Glacial, that would take a very long time to do. Why didn't I try to get glitchiest possible credits music? Because it was slow. So the glitch tile that lets us warp to Verin, sock folder actually found a setup. Hold on, I gotta purge Glacial. Sock folder actually found a setup that allows for arbitrary code execution, and I told Drenthru, the current world record holder, and the one that helped me a lot on the TAS, that he should implement the Cucko minigame from A Link Between Worlds and replace the bomb minigame with it, using that setup. Yeah, I meant using Astren, so we could actually have it RTA, and we could switch over and use an actual controller on it instead of just ROM hacking it, because that would be sick. Would you rather have the baseball minigame from Link Between Worlds instead of the batting minigame? Alright. Because I think you may be able to do that on 3DS. Alright, thank you all for watching, and I will see you later.